appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
So I think we'll just start out with the fundamentals. Based on your experience and knowledge, why do you think it's beneficial that businesses start a blog?
I think it sets the tone for their personality and sometimes their best practices and how they handle situations. So since we're not able to see each other in person, we don't network in person as much as we used to. It's a way to immediately, give people an idea who they're dealing with, the type of personalities, the way you guys do business. Mm-hmm. And I think it also, I like to know that the people that I'm dealing with actually know how to write and can express themselves, because sometimes our clients are, we represent the client represents us, mm-hmm. and out to their own clients, and it keeps, filtering down. So you really want to know who's going to be starting this whole conversation and what type of message are they going to be conveying. Can I stand behind that, or am I going to be embarrassed mm-hmm. with how they handle regular situations?
So I guess in that vein, what do you suggest?
I'm going to adjust the lighting here because it's a little hard to see. There we go. That's a little better.
So I was asking, what is best for businesses to blog about topics? You're talking about personality and conveying that personality through words. So what? And I'll get to third party because I'm very interested in how your role plays in when businesses hire you to blog for them. But I want to know if a business was to blog on their own, what should they be talking about?
They should be talking about. I actually have somebody at my door. I'm gonna.
Okay.
This is one of those risks of being live. Just 1 second. Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Oh, goodness. Live. I know. Here we go. Technology. So you were wondering what people should blog about? Mm-hmm. When I have clients that are starting out for the first time, and for one thing, it's kind of daunting to them because they're thinking, "Oh, I'm going to hire a professional. She's just going to do it all." Mm-hmm. They don't realize they really do need to, even if I'm helping them write it, they still need to review the content. Okay. And the first thing I like them to do, we come up with a few categories. I have a client right now, and they have no blog. So we're starting out with something simpler for them. They're very passionate about their business. They get excited. Mm-hmm. So when they have a success or complete a project, I'm encouraging them to do almost like a case study. Tell the story of the project. I remember years ago for credibility, when you would be interviewed as a programmer, you would ask somebody, "Oh, what projects have you done?" You'd say, "Oh, I worked on this site and this site and this site." And then you want to know how much did they really do. And so you ask them to say, "Hey, what was the biggest bump? What was the thing that got you excited about it?" And if they were kind of stammering, you knew they didn't do it. So part of that's building the credibility to show the passion that somebody has for their industry, for their business, for their clients, their dedication to them. So I really like to encourage case studies and storytelling. So whether it's, something you completed or a hurdle you just accomplished, that on top of things like basic company growth. Mm-hmm. We just expanded, we added new products. We're happy that we've brought on this strategic partner. Any news you would want to share that you would share with a colleague over lunch, mm-hmm. when they say, "How's business?" And that's what you're trying to share to draw people in to see, wow, they really love what they do. Mm-hmm. They're dedicated, they continue to grow, they continue to learn, and they even pull their covers from time to time when they don't do it perfectly well.
Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts about sort of like best practices, tips, or so if you have a small business and they want to share tips and information, do you suggest going down that avenue as well, like sharing the knowledge?
Oh, people love to get tips. We all like bulleted lists, short lists, the top 5, the top 3, something that we are already guaranteed is going to be short, not take up a lot of our time, and can become a quick reference guide. I do like that, but only if you really have something to say. And I would think, though, one of the biggest mistakes businesses make is they think, well, I can write all this, so I'm just going to do it and put it out there. And sometimes they write it from such an internal perspective that anybody outside their company is glazed over. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually in their internal speak, and the rest of the world, or even their target audience, doesn't understand anything they've just said.
Sure.
And so the message is lost. And the other thing that happens too is they think that they can write so well, they don't think they need a professional proofer or editor.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a huge mistake. You look like a dope when you have these run-on sentences or a misspeak. Take the extra time, spend the extra money, run it through either professional proofreader, professional copywriter, or somebody that is very anal on grammar and sentence structure, and keep you from looking like a fool.
Sure. And do you think businesses look to you for that aspect as well? You're not thinking that you're more of just a consultant. You are helping them leverage all aspects of their blog.
Right. I mean, I do some copywriting, especially when it comes into the fun ones. I have a few clients that just turn me loose, and I'll post a lot of anecdotes and stories, and it's actually very popular in a couple of the blogs that I help maintain. And it's just stories from my everyday life or my childhood or people I've met. And it keeps people engaged. But I will admit, I also run my stuff through somebody else. Mm-hmm. I'm not that vain. I don't want my client to be embarrassed. When it's my own post, I almost always, you'll know when I don't, but I almost always run it through one or two people that I trust. It's like, can I just toss this to you? And they'll throw it back. And usually it's prettied up, or it's, all in the same tense. Mm-hmm. I'll go from, first person to third person and past tense to present tense. I just jump all over the place.
Right.
And they'll clean that up for me. So that's what I always, have clients recommend to them as well.
Great. So you were talking, the first part of your answer was talking about seeing if these blogs have had particular engagement. How do you measure the success of a blog?
With two of my clients in particular, they get direct feedback from people that become customers, and they'll actually say, I read your blog and it made me laugh. And I knew one of them is a home care medical supply company. So they, it's not a fun time when you need to start ordering diapers for your mom. It just isn't.
Yeah.
But it puts a sense of humor on it. It's like, come on, we can laugh about some of this stuff. We have to. You'll just sit and cry.
Yeah.
So that has engaged, a lot of new customers for them because of that human side of it.
Okay.
And another client, because recipes are their big thing. This plumbing company, a local plumber, they also have an electrician company. The two of them, they love recipes. They love to cook. And they get a lot of people that connect with them because they say, oh, they're just so warm. I love what they post, and they post about charities and local events. And so they know this is who I want to be, with somebody that cares about the community. They'll care about my business. Mm-hmm. So everything in their post says that they're not only perfectionists, but that they guarantee they care, they stand by, they want to be around for a long time with you.
So it sounds like a huge part of having a successful post is showing your audience that you care about the community that you're in, conveying that.
It depends on your audience. If it's a high-tech firm, they're not going to care quite as much about the micro or the small community stuff. Mm-hmm. But that you have more large world awareness or engagement, that's going to matter more to them, to know that you are on top of everything with your finger on the pulse of new trends, new opportunities, new obstacles. Mm-hmm. So it depends on your audience. You really have to identify. I think that's, you were asking one of the biggest mistakes, not taking the time before you just launch into a blog. Oh, I can post up in 20 minutes. Here I go. I got a template. I'm going to add this. And spend the extra time to truly identify what is the purpose of your blog. Who are you trying to reach? Who are you trying to engage? Is it just throwing stuff out there hoping it sticks, or are you really going after your niche market rather than a shotgun splatter approach?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you are trying to reach out to an audience, of course you have your direct prospect clients, but how do you engage with other people? How do you get those people to buy into what you're saying?
Well, with some of my high-tech clients, we do cross-promoting and discussions on venues like LinkedIn and Google+, where I'll find other articles, or they'll find other articles to post that relates to their target audience. and they'll talk about those things. And it's that 80-20 rule, 80% about other people and talking about all of them, and then 20% posting your own, I wrote this article type of thing. And some of us in my circles have really come to appreciate when you admit from the beginning, just posted this article on my blog, not a sneaky, you put in some headline that's engaging, but you don't really say it's your own stuff. You see that on LinkedIn all the time. People are constantly hawking their own posts and things. It's all automated.
Mm-hmm.
It's the little automated procedures, and there's no true engagement. I find when I do more true engagement with my clients, when they do more reaching out and talking to who they're connected to or want to be connected to, without relying on some automated script, they get higher engagement.
Mm-hmm.
When they send newsletters out to their target group, their safe list, they don't spam anybody. These are all people that have joined with permission for whatever reason, and they'll usually recap their last 2 or 3 blog posts and send that out almost like a little digest,
mm-hmm.
with some personal note with it, maybe a small list of tips, very short though, not too many thoughts going on at once.
Mm-hmm.
And I know when I send my own newsletter out to my clients and prospects, I would say I have an 80% open rate, which is huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then my click-through rate is at least 50%. And I end up with probably 6 or 7 projects from every blast I send out. My list is small. My list is fewer than 200.
But it's clearly targeting people who want to hear what you're saying.
Right.
Which is what you're saying is spam, if you're not spamming anybody.
Right. And that's, they look forward to the tips. It's things that they don't have the time to go learn about. So they're counting on me, actually. I position myself as their expert. So when I come up with some things that I'm like, oh, wait a minute, we got to change gears here. This is how we used to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go again. We need to change it again. And they want to know. You want to know how that, so positioning yourself as the expert, which you can do through venues like LinkedIn, through blogging, through Twitter, through some of the others, to show you know what you're talking about. People will look forward to what you're posting.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll look forward to doing business with you, or at least considering you or recommending you to somebody.
Mm-hmm. So with under that same sort of umbrella of comments, you're reaching out to people and you're providing this information. Do you allow them to comment on blogs and provide feedback? Are you afraid of that? Give me some insight into that.
That's a great question. It varies across all my clients.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them, they don't realize, I'm getting all these spam comments, when it's from those bots, and it's, because we don't check, with the caption and everything else to make sure it's a human. They don't realize that there are people all around the world that are paid $2 and $3 to make comments.
Mm-hmm.
Like real login, make a user profile, make a comment.
Right.
To get all their links on there. And there is truly no way to prevent that without locking out comments.
Mm-hmm.
Or making sure people sign up as a user. So there's some of my clients, they say, remove all ability to make comments. I'm so tired of getting 3 spam comments a week. Okay. And then other clients don't care because they said, we get such great engagement, and I love the feedback from it depends on your list and who's reading your blog. Who is actually opening it up. Mm-hmm. One of my clients that promotes his through Facebook, he gets such a high engagement of real people that he knows that he loves the comments. And for the few spam ones that come in, or the few, cross-link promotions, he's willing to take that risk. He doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. How do you get people to make comments? I mean, of course, there's going to be people who troll. There's going to be people who spam, but the genuine comments, how can you make it available?
You got to ask.
Okay.
So, like my client Wade on Facebook, he'll say, hey, you just posted this new feature on our site. Do you mind going there and make it a comment? Give me some feedback. I want your honest opinion. Mm-hmm. And people love giving honest opinions.
Yeah, they sure do.
But he's going after his safe targeted audience. So if I were to send a newsletter out with a blog post headline, can you guys check this out and let me know what's your feedback? My list would do the same. So it depends on what type of engagement you're looking for. Okay. I have a few clients that they do medical, like I said, the medical supplies or the real estate agents, high tech. I have cities. Cities don't want any comments. They just don't. And so we can't handle it, and people use it as a grandstand forum, just like they do city council meetings. They go there just to, go off. So we just block out the comments on all of those. So again, it just depends on what you're looking for.
Sure. And you were talking about rules earlier, get your content proofread and share sort of like a streamline of thoughts, don't be all over the place. Are there other rules that you found work better?
Regularity. If you are going to blog, pick 2 days a week, the same 2 days, about the same time. Think of it as a television station. Think of it as a regular way that people can tune in. If you have your blog posts go out to your Twitter feed and things, you're going to hit the same people because people usually are on those venues at the same time every day. I'm an early morning tweeter and a late night. I do social media during lunch. There's certain places I look at certain times of the day, and anything that falls on the other sides of those, I really don't even see. So you want it to hit with regularity to when your folks are most likely going to be checking their venues.
Okay.
So you need to know that too. That's also part of identifying your audience is when are they online and where do they actually hang out? Some, I've had some high tech companies say, Facebook, all my friends like it, but that doesn't buy me any business.
Right.
You're high tech, what are you doing on Facebook? You don't need to be there. If they're doing business and they're in business mode, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Twitter, they're on Google Plus.
So do you think that's a matter of analyzing your audience with demographics, or can you give me a little more insight into how you analyze your audience and who best want to meet?
It's a homework thing that the clients, some of them haven't even ever done for their business. They have never sat down to identify who their ideal client is. So some of them, they'll know who their client is now, but it doesn't mean that's who they want it to be in the future, who they want to grow into. And so you want to target any of your outreach for that goal, not for where you are now. Where do you want to be in 1 year, in 2 years, in 5 years? And so you start gauging all of your online efforts and social media efforts to go towards those goals.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that I was just trying to wrap my head around the idea that you have this client base, but you may want to move forward in the future, and I'm sure somewhere there needs to be, you keep the client base making money, but that you also make your message.
Yeah, but you need to do your research too. It's planning ahead of time so you don't misstep and spend a whole lot of money without having a plan. So without doing the research and truly identifying where they hang out, where they are, what their goals are, what their challenges are right now, you're wasting your money if you start posting to that audience because you're never going to reach them. It's worth it to delay the launch of the blog by some time so you can really sit down and what are the company's goals in all these different areas and then tailor it toward that.
Okay. So when it comes with, you've now measured your audience or your preferred audience. How do you go ahead and leverage that? Do you interact with other blogs, interact with them socially?
You join, there's some groups on LinkedIn, and they vary. Some of the groups are all, oh my gosh, they're all about spamming their credit you all the time. And then there's some, I joined a few just recently that I'm so happy to be in, and the conversations are warm and engaging and supportive. And people are really swapping ideas and information. So you got to kind of test the waters on those groups. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time. The other way to reach out, like you were saying, even participate in other blogs. What blogs do you follow? What blogs do your groups follow? What blogs your target audience follow? Do they? Are they on Pinterest? Are they following certain boards? Well, if that's where they're hanging out, then you better start posting there. So make sure every one of your posts truly has a photo. Go to 123rf, that.com. That's one site. Shutterfly. iStock Photos. Some of the others. Take your own photos. Find cheap photos. That's fine. Don't just search and take a photo and think, I found it on Google. I get to have it. No, don't come after you. Buy enough photos to at least grab their attention.
Okay.
Some of them can be pinned. Some of them can be shared because you don't know. I have one client, she's an etiquette. She teaches business etiquette, dining etiquette, and business protocols, and personal image. So she's big on Pinterest, and everything for her is about images. So we make sure we have engaging images, whether it's fashion mistakes, manners mistakes, dining etiquette, but we make sure it's something that'll grab somebody's attention. Oh my gosh. And she even invested once for me to do a whole photo session here of dining etiquette and dining mistakes. And we got kind of silly. And she said, here are the mistakes I want you to cover. So, okay. So my husband and I did this whole photo session. We set up the lighting and everything and had that for her. So they're her photos and she can use them whenever she wants. But they were attention getters and they work for her still in her presentations. We'll update them soon just because fashions change. We don't want to look at them.
Right. So when you say images, I'm going to go ahead and assume you mean like graphic. It could be anything from an infographic or a chart, just something that's visually appealing, not just images like someone at a kitchen table doing a faux pas. Of the full gamut of images.
I mean photos. Of people looking straight at you.
Okay.
That's what's engaging. One of my high-tech clients, she, has been reading all these tests. We need more images for the banners on this new site we're doing. And she said, babies test high. I said, babies? You watch. So we put a baby on our homepage. Her clients went nuts over this baby. All her high-tech clients are like, oh my gosh, I had to read more. That baby just grabbed me. It was so engaging. And we're cracking up like, oh my God, it's textbook. But it worked. The baby was looking at us, though. So when people are looking straight at you, it's that conversation starter.
Okay. I know on websites they have images pointing the eyes in the direction of the call to action.
Yes.
It's the same idea.
Same idea. So same with blog posts. With Pinterest, it's a micro blog like Twitter. So you still have like 400 characters, so you can pin your images onto Pinterest if you want onto boards. And I've been invited actually to participate in several boards, or even mine, if I wanted to post onto them. I don't even know you. Okay.
I don't even know that.
I don't, but I'll put some kind of description. One of my favorite things to do is you were asking about engagement. I get very inspired by women who are strong and successful in business. And so I like to interview those women or go see some award thing that's honoring these women so I can hear their stories. So after those events, I'll usually go back and blog about that event, talk about those women. So I'm mentioning their names, which gets pushed out. It's tagged by those companies because they're usually bigger companies. I tweet about those women, and I'll pin it from my blog post or even from their sites, but talk about it and congratulate them. The engagement rate that I experience goes up tremendously during those weeks that I do that.
This sounds to me like really genuine interaction, though. Like you genuinely enjoy women's stories.
I do, and I like talking about women heroes and things like that because I want to model that for my daughter.
So taking that advice and turning it into the business aspect, they need to find something that's important to them, that's genuine to them.
Yes.
Okay.
Because people can read through. They can read through when you're not being genuine, when you're just, pulling some of the fannies to try and use keywords and things to just get the engagement up. I have met the most interesting women through that and interviewed them for my radio show and some other things. And I get inspired. So it continues to give me more things to talk about, to cross-reference back to them, back to their sites, back to their Twitter, LinkedIn, and all their other handles. And I love the feedback I get not only from them, but from their colleagues and their companies, because they're following them as well. Because when you mention the companies, everybody's kind of watching that. And it truly does build community. So I don't do shortcut networking. I have some things automated on Twitter and things, but I would say 60 to 70% of what I do is genuine. It's more time consuming, but I like the results much better.
So do you think that if businesses hired a third party, like someone like you, that could take that off their plate and you could really help them with their engagement and take that time that they can't a lot to really engage people who want to hear what they have to say. That's what a third party blogger or social networker can do for them.
That's what a good one does. And it takes time for them to get to know you. It's going to be a lot of pre-meetings. It's a lot of visiting. It's meetings like this where we're talking about to understand really what makes them tick and where to not overstep the boundary and when it's okay to push a little bit more and to bring in some personalities. A lot of my clients I've had for several years, some up to 10 years. So I know them well enough and they just let me do what I need to. Get excited for results. And I sign myself on as an author as well on their blog. I don't post as them most of the time.
Okay.
Unless I put it in draft, they review it and then put in their own touch to it. Or I clean up what they write because it's a mess. And we just need to clean it up. But otherwise, I sign on as my own user to keep it separate. And it allows me also to talk about them and brag on them and their accomplishments. And it has a little more credibility that way too. And I'll take their posts, like when I do a radio show for the Sales and Management Association, I'll post on mine. I'll send the show out to the guest, and she'll talk about it, or he'll talk about it, and that engagement increases even more. So blogging isn't just about the blog, which, as we know now, blogs and websites are they're the same pretty much. You have your static content on a blog, which are the pages, and then you have the posts, which are the more timely things that you talk about, your articles and things. But there are other blogs. Twitter is a blog. It's just a microblog. Pinterest, Google Plus, they're all blogs. So it's how do you want to take your first message that you spend the most time on for your main site, your blog site, and tailor it for these other venues. I don't post everything from my site onto Google Plus. It doesn't make sense to put it there. I don't put pictures of my kids and their events on Google Plus. That's for Facebook. Instagram is for pictures of the food I make and beautiful things I see outside. It's rare that I'll put business things on Instagram. So, you really need to tailor it exactly, not only for your message and your goals, but the venue.
Okay. That was good. That got me. I like that a lot.
Well, I find people get that word blog, and it's such a stigma to them. I want my site to look like a blog. So what does a blog site look like? Well, it has 3 columns, and does it? And so I'll show them other sites like, that's a blog? Yes. And they don't all look like the new templates where it's a big image, 4 things, and then 3 lists.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to look like that either. But the thing about those formats that people forget or discount is it's familiar. So a lot of us then know where to go for stuff because it is familiar. It's like when some people get all wacky and want to put the navigation off to the right. Why would you do that? You put it at the top, you put it over here. You don't put it on the bottom only. You don't put it at the right. People don't look for it there. That isn't the logic. That isn't how we've been trained to follow the path. So, to remove the stigma of blog, it's a lot more than that. And there are so many other little blog venues. You don't even realize you're participating. Facebook is a blog. It's highly engaged. YouTube is a blog. When you post a video up there, don't just toss it up there. Tell the story. What's the story behind this video? And not only do your viewers and potential followers enjoy it more, but it ranks higher in search engines because you described it better. Our local news station here has something called U-News. Even the BBC lets you submit stories, but the U-News thing, if you're a user that's been approved by them, they'll kind of check you out and see what you say at first. After they've approved, you can post charity events, you can tell stories of your neighborhood, post photos, and you become one of their news resources. But it's the same thing. Add descriptions. So don't miss those opportunities just because you're quickly just tossing something up there. If you're truly doing it for business or possible business, think about what you're saying. Think about what you're saying personally too, because it does get found. Be careful with your typos, with your shortcut writing. It's the impression people will have of you when they run across you. And I found that quite accidentally a couple of years ago, I Googled one of my usernames I frequently use for support forums. And I was surprised at all the things that came up when I go off on different companies. And I was very pleased, though, that I kept myself in check. And I remembered some of the events, like, that could have been really bad. But I toned myself down because you don't know. You when you're complaining about something, what's public? And they're all blogs.
Yes, the internet can be a scary thing.
Yeah. Try and warn my daughter. She's 11 and just, dipping a toe in right now.
Yep.
And I saw something, she said, delete it. She says, why? I said, delete it. It's not nice. Delete it.
Yeah.
It serves no purpose other than to stir up a hornet's nest.
That was really very interesting. I was able to ask all my questions and get more information than I expected, so I really appreciate you taking the time.
Well, I'm glad you could do this. It made it a lot more fun, too. I miss the times of going and doing in-house interviews, so this was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. It really was. It was good. I'm glad you suggested it.
And next time I'll clean up a little bit better. My husband is actually building me my background for these types of things. He has to put a stand-up. I have some great background scene that's coming. But
I kind of like the personal touch in the background. It's nice. I've got a blank wall, so
that's okay. Well, thank you so much, Megan, and I'll look forward to talking to you soon and reading this when you actually post about it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.